We live in a remarkable age. At any moment, we can communicate with someone on the other side of the world, access nearly limitless information, watch a video, read a book, listen to music, order dinner, all from a device that fits in our pocket. Technology has given us extraordinary capabilities, and yet, many people feel more distracted than ever, more rushed, more fragmented, more overwhelmed. Welcome back to TeaMinded. I'm glad you're here. Today we're exploring a question that sits at the heart of TeaMinded itself. Why does tea still matter in a digital world? Why, in an age defined by speed, convenience, and constant connection, are so many people rediscovering tea? And what might tea have to teach us about attention, presence, and living well? For most of human history, life moved at a different pace. Information traveled slowly. Communication required effort. Waiting was simply part of daily life. Today, much of that friction has disappeared. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Technology has improved our lives in countless ways. The problem isn't technology itself. The problem is what constant stimulation can do to our attention. Many of us spend our days moving from one screen to another. Phone, computer, tablet, television. Notifications arrive continuously. Messages compete for our attention. Algorithms are designed to keep us engaged. And before long, we begin living in a state of perpetual reaction, responding, scrolling, clicking, consuming, without ever fully arriving in the present moment. Tea offers something different. Tea cannot be rushed, at least not without losing something important. Water must be heated, leaves measured, time allowed for brewing. These small actions create a pause, a break in the flow of constant activity. And that pause is increasingly valuable. One of the reasons tea feels so refreshing today is because it asks almost nothing from us except attention. Not productivity, not performance, not achievement. Attention. The simple act of noticing. The aroma, the warmth, the changing flavors in the cup. Tea reminds us that some experiences become richer when we slow down enough to experience them fully. I often think of tea as a form of analog living. Not because tea is anti-technology, but because tea engages us physically. We touch the leaves, pour the water, hold the cup, observe the steam. The experience unfolds through the senses rather than through a screen. And in a world increasingly mediated by technology, those sensory experiences matter. This may help explain why tea often attracts people who enjoy other analog pursuits. Readers, journal keepers, photographers, artists, people who enjoy vinyl records, fountain pens, handwritten letters. Not because these things are superior, but because they invite participation. They ask us to engage rather than simply consume. Tea creates a small island of attention within the day. A few minutes where the goal is not efficiency, not optimization, not multitasking, just presence. And perhaps that is why tea feels increasingly relevant. The more distracted the world becomes, the more valuable attention becomes. Tea also reminds us that convenience is not always the highest good. Convenience is wonderful, but meaningful experiences often require a little time, a little effort, a little patience. The best conversations, the best books, the best relationships, the best creative work. These things rarely happen instantly. Tea belongs in that category. It rewards patience. And perhaps that's why tea continues to thrive despite every technological advancement. Not because it competes with technology, but because it complements it. Technology helps us move faster. Tea helps us slow down. Technology expands our reach. Tea deepens our awareness. Technology connects us to information. Tea reconnects us to experience. Both have their place. The challenge is finding balance. Maybe the real gift of tea isn't the beverage itself. Maybe it's the reminder that attention still matters, that presence still matters, that not every moment needs to be optimized, that there is value in simply sitting with a cup of tea and watching the steam rise. Tomorrow, consider taking 5 minutes. Leave the phone on the table, step away from the screen, brew a favorite tea, and simply pay attention. Not because you're trying to accomplish anything, but because you're reclaiming something increasingly rare: your attention. As TeaMinded continues, we'll keep exploring tea culture, mindfulness, craftsmanship, creativity, and intentional living through the lens of tea. But today, I hope this episode serves as a gentle reminder. Technology is a wonderful tool, but attention is a precious resource, and tea may be one of the simplest ways to protect it. Thank you for listening to TeaMinded. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the podcast on Spotify and share it with someone who loves tea, books, journaling, photography, or thoughtful living. And until next time, put the kettle on, step away from the screen, and stay tea-minded.